Hello and welcome to the Fitting in Fitness interview series. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and if you're a busy woman who's looking for a more compelling reason to stick to her fitness routine than just to look cute in her skinny jeans, you are in the right place. During this interview series, I'm talking to some amazing rock star women who choose to fit fitness into their busy lives on a regular basis and cite it as one of the secrets to their success. My guests are sharing how they got started with their fitness routines, how fitness has had a positive impact on their lives, and perhaps most importantly, what you can do to start fitting in fitness and changing your own life today. I'm so excited that you're tuning in and want to learn how fitness can bring your business and life to the next level. Joining me today to help you do that is my special guest, Kylie Travers. So who is Kylie Travers? Kylie Travers, who is joining me all the way from Australia, has a pretty incredible story. I'll give you a quick bio here and then we'll dive into it more together. Kylie has overcome domestic violence, homelessness, borderline personality disorder, paralysis, and other health issues to now be a CEO, multiple international award-winning blogger, author, speaker, and advocate for homelessness and domestic violence issues. Kylie is passionate about helping others turn their obstacles into opportunities and creating a life they love. So, wow, Kylie, that is quite the background there in bio. I know I had you shorten it, but I'm excited to delve in and have you share your story more and help you inspire our viewers. So welcome, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So I'd love to start off, I know every entrepreneur's day is different and I'm sure it's the same for you, but what's kind of a general day in the life of Kylie look like?
Yeah, it's different every day, but I guess for the most part, try to keep some sort of routine because I've got 2 kids and a new partner now. So we tend to get up about 6 or 7 so that my partner and I have a bit of time like just together before the kids get up.
Yeah.
And then I guess like between like 7 and 9 is like the same for everybody. I guess it's crazy, getting the kids ready, cooking breakfast and all that sort of stuff. And then I walk them to school. From 9 till 12, I'm generally doing writing or interviews like this, or I'm speaking at events and that sort of thing. And then 12 o'clock is lunch, obviously. And so because I can do a lot of my stuff from home, my partner and I often have lunch together too, which is cool. And then, from 1 o'clock till sort of 3 o'clock, it's more writing and speaking and emails and social media and that sort of thing. And then my girls finish school at 3:30, so I pick them up. After school, for some reason, like the 2 hours between like picking them up from school and dinner time is just insane, and it disappears. I don't know what happens, but it goes, and it's generally, like we're playing together or, they'll do their homework and that sort of thing. And then it's, dinner and cleaning up and all that sort of stuff. And they're in bed by 7. And so then of an evening, typically, like I'll do a bit more work as with my partner, or, we might, we've got a gym in our complex, so we might go to the gym, or otherwise I'm going to events again of an evening. So in bed between sort of 10 or 1 a.m. sometimes when I'm not so good. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place and rushed, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think like most of us like really busy. There's always more you can do, right? So how...
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, definitely a very jam-packed day. You mentioned a little bit about the gym, but how do you like fit fitness into that busy schedule?
Yeah, so I have it scheduled at different times on different days just because of everything that's happening, and I'm trying to get more routine in it. So typically I'll try, like now I have like kettlebell swings on like a Monday and a Thursday or something. I'll do laps in the pool after school with my kids and things like that. I found, like, because last year I ended up paralysed for a while, and they also thought I had the cancer my mum died from, which was separate to that. But that was a real wake-up call because I hadn't been fitting fitness in, but because of that, it meant that there's a lot that I can't do. It's been like a slow process, so it's been like physio stretches and exercises up until more recently where I've been able to start the kettlebell swings and things like that again. So it's, like I do the stretches, like the physio stuff every night though. Like that's sort of on the kitchen floor when the dinner's being cooked is when I'm doing physio. So yeah, it's sort of hidden and behind and around the corner. So like, but I'm there on the floor doing my stretches and stuff for physio whilst dinner's cooking. So
that's inspiring. That's what I need to be doing. I have like, not the same sort of running injuries that I need to be like doing therapy for that I don't always do.
No, I think most of us go to physio and then go, I'll do that, and do it like once or twice, and then it's like, oh man. and you forget about it because it's not like your normal sort of exercise. It's like, you know, something very specific for that injury or that illness or whatever. And it's, I think throws you out. Like, it's not just getting on the treadmill and going for a run.
Right.
Yeah.
But important. So I like that tip.
Yes.
I might have to steal that for myself.
Yeah. Well, I used to do, when I was younger, I would do like squats. Like if I put something in the microwave, I don't even have a microwave now, but when I put something in the microwave, I'd do squats until it had finished, or, you know, like push-ups or something until it beeped, sort of thing. And so it was just like, it might only be a few minutes here and there, but I was doing nothing else. So that was, that was it. But yeah.
No, it's awesome. So you have lots of good little secrets for
Sort of, I guess.
Awesome. So you talked about, you know, fitting it in with those little like sneaky strategies. Was that always part of your routine? I mean, you mentioned that you're getting back into it. Can you explain that story for us?
So I've gone through stages. As like a teenager, I was really good about it. Like every night I'd go to bed at like bedtime, like when I was told to go to bed or whatever, but like I'd be doing like sit-ups and crunches and push-ups and everything in my bed, in my bedroom. And then I got married at 19 and it just went downhill. Like, he wasn't really into fitness. He had a very physical job, so yeah, nothing sort of really happened. And so that I was married from 2005 till 2012, and also he was rather abusive and controlling, and I wasn't allowed to sort of look good, so I stopped caring about myself and caring about my fitness and that. So then when I got divorced, end of 2012, early 2013, I was like, no, I'm going to do this for myself. And so I did. I started exercising properly. I started a dance class, like going to a dance class with one of my friends. And fitness became a huge focus. And even though like at that time, like when I left him, ended up like he was stalking us and causing all sorts of issues. And I ended up homeless for a while with my daughters. But I always maintained the fitness, because to me it was and I guess for most of my family too, it's always been something that gives us clarity and helps us think. And so like when we're stressed or frustrated, we'd like go for a run. And so even though that time was super, super stressful, I was like, I had to keep up my fitness. And then in 2014, 2015 sort of thing, I started my company and started doing a lot more speaking and traveling and things like that. And my fitness just slipped right away. I was just so exhausted. I'd spend, like 12 hours some days doing, speaking and events and writing and whatever. And I was also part of a social media campaign for Visit Canberra at the time, so promoting my city and stuff like that. Wow. And and so that was like, I'd be out at events like 4 or 5 times a week for that sort of stuff, and it just all got out of hand. And then in May 2015 I ended up paralyzed from, it was a really stupid thing, and it wasn't even like a sports injury or anything cool, it was just dumb. And but it affected my whole health for months. Like I've only it's February 2016, and it's only been in the last couple of months that I've been able to do much at all.
Wow.
So so it hasn't always been, but I can see the patterns in my life, like where I've let it slip. My whole health and my mental health as well has really suffered, not just like physical, and not appearance. Appearance has never really been the basis of it. Right. Now,
so, how did you get back into it from all that when you're kind of hit that low? And
it was really hard because they couldn't work out what was causing the paralysis either. Mm-hmm. So like I've got a bulge disc and disc degeneration from a sports injury when I was 15.
Sure.
And that's will eventually have to be operated on. But we did some physio. They tried cortisone treatments, which I actually had an allergic reaction to. Had surgery for what they thought was the cancer, and thankfully it wasn't. But all this sorts of stuff. And then it was just like, oh man. And then at the end of the year, I had a new doctor, and he referred me to a new physio. And this physio was like, oh no, they've been treating everything wrong. Why don't you try this, this, and this? And then within 2 weeks, I was able to walk on my own and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've spent months reliant on my boyfriend. And so once that started happening, then I was able to slowly get into more things. But it was really about finding the right physio and the right sort of exercises to sort of strengthen all of that, because it was apparently one side of my back, the muscles were not working properly and hadn't been for years, and that's what had put everything out. And so it was a long-term compound effect of not doing the right stuff. So it was just, I guess that's what it was. It was a matter of getting the right physio and doing the right exercises and making it a priority too. So obviously in 2014 and 15, it was not, my business was. And so I made, once I lost all my health, it was no man, this is the most important thing right now, is to get me physically fit.
Wow.
So yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to think, how that diagnosis could be wrong, and that how the strengthening part of like certain muscles could be what was the difference after everything else you went through, which sorry you had to go through.
They were like, no, we're going to have to operate. We're going to have to remove your disc and fuse your spine and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, I'm 30 years old. Like, I don't want that. And then we were looking at all other operations. They put me on the wait list and all of that. And it's just like, yeah, like it's insane. It's such a wake up call. And it's, when it turned out to be something so small that's easily fixable, it's just like, man, I could have been cut open. Like, and it's just like, so glad it wasn't.
No,
but yeah, it's good when you find it. I think that's part of it. Like when it is an injury, you've got to get the right help behind you to sort of get back on top of it and do everything right. Like I think too often we sort of go, oh, well, I've seen physio a couple of times, I'll just leave it now. And it's like, or I'm feeling better now, that's fine. It's like, no, you've got to do the whole thing, like the whole process.
Right. I can definitely, I've been the bad physio patient.
I think we all have at some point. I know I've had multiple injuries and this is the first time I've gone, I'm actually going to do it properly. Being paralyzed makes you go, no, it's important.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely that definitely would a good wake up call to get you into it. But wow, it's definitely quite a story. Like you wouldn't think that.
No.
You've been through a lot.
In a couple of years. Yay, lucky me.
So this is the year though that
this year has been feeling so much better for everything. So pretty happy with that.
Well, that's good. It sounds like you definitely deserve it.
Oh, thank you.
So, you did mention before that it's never been about weight loss for you, which, I always love hearing that when I have new clients because those are the people that are most successful. But,
yes.
but but a lot of people will come to me and that's not, they come to me because they want to lose weight. That's why they want to start a fitness journey. So, as someone that never had that as a goal, and you've mentioned this already, but just to like remind people, what are some of those positive impacts that fitness has had in your life besides, just helping you look cute in your skinny jeans or lose weight or feel, those kinds of things. Yeah.
Well, like I did have the only time where I think I really focused on it predominantly for weight loss was when I'd gotten to over 100 kilos after having my second daughter. And it's interesting because when it was that focus, I didn't lose much weight. Like it wasn't like it just wasn't happening. And when I focused on it more about it being, more about like my mental health and how I felt physically and, focusing on my core strength, like that's a huge focus for us now is my core strength because of my spine.
Sure.
When it's been like that, it's, had a much better effect. And like I found with work, I can concentrate better. I get more done when I'm actually focusing on having like a fitness routine. Whereas when I'm not exercising, I get really tired and really sluggish and it sort of affects everything. Like last year, for example, losing my health completely impacted really badly on my business because I couldn't then go speak at events. I couldn't, I was supposed to publish a book last year and I couldn't do that because the medication they had me on for the pain and to be able to walk in that at times blocked my brain in that I couldn't even formulate sentences a lot of the time. Wow. So there's no way you can write a book if you're like sitting there going, you can't even think of, the right word for anything. Like having fitness in my life, has made a profound effect, I think, in every area. Definitely more than the weight loss. The weight loss is just, a side effect.
Sure. And that's why I hear that a lot from it. Even before I did this series, I was hearing other entrepreneurs talking about, like, once they had fitness as part of a routine, just, like, having that clarity. And so I'm glad you share that, too. And I think it's important because people that, haven't found it yet, or and it doesn't have to be hiring a personal trainer and all that craziness. Exactly. But you just you really do just feel so much better and so much more productive. So it's always good to share.
Well, I think for me it's also like a form of meditation in a sense. Like I like to meditate anyways, but I just find like going for a run or putting headphones on and listening to like whatever music I want or whatever, and doing the kettlebell swings or whatever it is that I'm doing, it's like totally zoned out. Like that's my time to just focus, and I'll often really focus on my breathing or whatever it is whilst I'm exercising as well. And so it's I find you come away from it really clear, really refreshed, and like I love it.
It's a good break from everything else.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So you've shared this too, like you've had some, just even from your journey, like maybe not even planned breaks from fitness, but, but I guess maybe speaking more to like now that you feel like you're starting to get back into routine, now that you're getting your health back, do you still do you work out every single day? And I don't either, but so if that's true or not true. And then if you don't work out on a given day, how do you get back on track? Like, how do you feel when you don't do it versus when you do? Do you have any insights on that?
Yeah. Well, I don't work out every day. Well, I do my physio stretches and that every day, pretty much. Like, I can't really miss them. And if I do miss them for 1 or 2 days or whatever, I really feel it like in the base of my spine. But as for the rest of the exercise, like kettlebell swings, I only sort of do like a couple of times a week. Swimming in the pool, like doing the laps when my kids are swimming and stuff like that as well, that might only be, once a week or whatever. I'm not really you have to exercise every day sort of person. Like, I think it's more about like finding what works for you and the right sort of pattern. I think too, because we have to walk 15 minutes to get my girls, like take my girls to school. And so that's like an hour every day because I'm walking there, walking back, and then in the afternoon picking them up and that. And we don't own a car anymore either. We sold our car, and so we walk everywhere. And so I think having that, has sort of made an impact. I am exercising, I guess, every day without it having to be a focus.
That's awesome.
And I think that makes it easier. Yeah.
You're living my dream. I've been trying. I mean, I live in Houston, Texas, where it's very hard to not have a car, but I've been trying to. I mean, and also it's not really hot out yet, but I went to Europe a few weeks back, and I was walking everywhere, and I just like fell in love with it again. So I'm like, I need to like be walking more, and I don't want to use my car.
Well, we live right in the CBD right in the middle of the city in Melbourne, and it's perfect because like where we were before in Canberra, which was up until the end of last year, like I just couldn't. It would take over an hour on the bus to get my daughters to school versus 10 minutes of driving. And it's just like, well, it wasn't worth it. And like walking that sort of distance and stuff, I just couldn't do it. Whereas like where we're located now, it's like the shops are across the road. The girls' school is like 15 minutes away. My partner's work is 10 minutes away. Everything we want to do is like right here. And so there's no need for a car. And it was so freeing. Like the day we sold it, it was just like, oh man, it's gone. And there was no stress about it. Like I thought it'd be like a bit anxious, but it had sat there. So my partner had a car and I had one. His had sat there for like nearly 6 months or something.
Wow.
Like it just wasn't being used. So I'm like, well, get rid of it.
That's awesome that you can do that though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pretty happy about it.
No, I mean, for me, like I've done some short walks like to things that are, actually kind of close to me, even though I do live in a big city that is not a very walkable city. And it just, not being in the traffic, even for the short time, is very freeing. So
it's so good. That's the other thing. And like, because we live in an apartment block sort of thing, and we can see the traffic like every day. Like I can see before we even go take my daughters to school, we can see where we walk and that. And you see like everybody lining up and that, and the beeping and the aggression. And my girls have even said to me, they're like, Mum, why are they so angry when they're driving? And I'm like, well, they're stuck in traffic for a long time and they really wanted to get through that light and now they haven't, and so they're stuck. And she's like, why don't they just walk? Not everybody has that luxury. It's not.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good.
Yeah.
Less stress from the fitness, but also like you said, the aggression of driving.
Absolutely. And I love, like, I'll drop my daughters off and then I'll put my headphones on to listen to a podcast on the way, walking on the way home sort of thing. And so I get that sort of like, time to sort of zone out a little bit or whatever, or catch up on things. And it's just, I like it. Awesome. Not driving has been great. So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm definitely jealous of you there.
I'm lucky.
So I guess, Kylie, so some women that might be watching, maybe they're like in your shoes, maybe from, you've had several times in your life that you had some difficult times where you weren't able to fit fitness in, and you might have felt like you just didn't have time, especially when you're, doing all those appearances and really busy. What would you say to someone like that who's watching and, if they feel like they still have no time, there's no way they could do it, what's some advice you would give them to help them out?
I would say that everybody has time to do it. It's not even about like having to do it every day or, you have to go to the gym for an hour or whatever. It's often about like finding the small bits of time where you can do something more, or getting up like, 15 or 20 minutes earlier and doing like 100 kettlebell swings or something like that. Finding like all over body exercise that you can do, or joining like a dance class or yoga or something like that. Like I think we do get way too caught up in pushing through and, like, I'll just get this done or whatever. And then we get to the end of the day and we're exhausted. And it's like, well, if you'd made fitness a priority, I found everything else that I do, I work better at. And also like your health, like once your health is gone, like you're screwed, for lack of a better word. Like there's nothing. Like last year when I like facing like potentially long-term paralysis and like the cancer scare and stuff like that, it's just like nothing else matters. And you really
you're not too busy for your health because you've got nothing else. Like, if you don't have your health, that's it. Everything else goes. You don't get to play with your kids. Like, last year I was half a mum because I couldn't, like, I felt like I couldn't play with them. The medication meant they couldn't talk with me properly. I was sleeping constantly in that. And it's like, I don't think anybody's too busy to focus on themselves and their health, if that's the alternative. Like, and that's the reality, is that if you don't take care of yourself, you could be like that when you're 30, 40, 50 or whatever. Like, you don't have the quality of life if you're not putting your fitness first. Yeah, I'm pretty passionate about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to take for granted when you have it, right? But
absolutely.
Keep pushing yourself. But
absolutely. And because, like, I think for me too, like, at the time I wasn't like, my kids were a little bit older, so I didn't feel like overweight or anything more. Like, I dropped weight. I felt like I was an okay size and that sort of thing. And so, like, I felt pretty good about myself. But yeah, so like, I sort of let the fitness side, because it's like, oh, it's all right, I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do it later or whatever. I've really got to focus on my company. I've really got to push this and, and do stuff with my kids and that. And like family is obviously super, super important. And you do need an income. So if as an entrepreneur, you do have to work on your stuff, but you've got to prioritize, and your health needs to be right up there. Like, yeah.
No, I agree. but I mean, you definitely have the firsthand experience of really, being there. And
yeah, I didn't expect to have that firsthand experience, because it was really bad, because like I'd only just started dating my partner. We had been living together for a little bit, but we'd only sort of started dating for a few weeks, and then he went overseas for 2 months for work, and then he came back, and it was within 2 weeks of him coming back, I'm paralyzed, and he became my carer.
Wow.
Sort of thing. And it was like, that was not what we had planned. And then, like multiple surgeries and stuff, and it was just like, this is not how it should be. And it was horrible for me, because I'd gone from being super independent single mom, taking care of my kids by myself, doing everything myself and running my company, and I'm awesome. And then all of a sudden I was fully dependent on somebody else because I neglected my health. And it's like, I could have prevented that. Like, I could have prevented the last 9 months was just atrocious, and I could have prevented that. And I'm 30, that's not something you should be facing at 30. And so like, I think I look at that now, and I'm like, everybody, like, whenever they're like, oh, I'm too busy or whatever, I'm like, no, you're not, because do you want like 9 to 12 months of recovery, like, or do you want to be on the wait list for surgeries? Like, do you want all that sort of stuff? And that's the other thing, if we didn't have private health insurance, because like the health insurance is different in Australia to the US, like very different, and so not everybody has private health. It would have been 12 months I would have been on the waiting list to get the treatment I needed if I didn't have private health as well. And so it's like, that would have been like 1.5 to 2 years that I would have been out of action. My company would have suffered. Like, I would have gone bankrupt. Like this, by the time my health sort of started to come back, I was at the point where if something didn't change, I was going to be in a really bad position, probably like living with my parents or something. Not that it's bad to have to do that. That's not the end of the world, obviously. But it's like, that's how badly I was about to, have to leave my house and lose everything because of my health. And it's just like, you can't do that to yourself.
Yeah. Well, so, when you're an entrepreneur, you want that freedom. You want to have your own thing going on. So
exactly. And like, I love to travel. I love travel so much. And it was like, that was impacted last year. Like, I couldn't get on a plane. I couldn't sit for longer than 2 hours at any point in time and stuff like that. And my boyfriend does travel photography and videography, and he's like a destination marketer. Yeah, like I'm so happy with that. But yeah, and I'm just like, his work was impacted because of my health as well. And that's the thing, like, it's not just, our health isn't just about us, it's a ripple effect. It's about everybody around us as well. And it's like, do you want your company to fail? Do you want your staff? I had to let staff go last year.
Wow, yeah.
Because of it and stuff. So it's like, I think it's something that we sort of put to last until it does happen, like mine did last year, until you have a wake-up call like that. And I would hope that everybody, like, listening or watching or whatever would maybe just take my wake-up call and not have to have their own. I'm like, mine was pretty intense, so just take that one and not don't go through it yourself. It's not fun.
Now, do you speak about that, like your experience a lot? Is that part of your speaking when you speak? Or
it hasn't been so much. Like, a lot of my speaking has been on like domestic violence and homelessness, and also like because I've won quite a few awards for like blogging and that sort of thing, and I speak internationally on like monetizing your blog and that, so it's been predominantly that. But I've now in a few of them been working that in a little, I guess, because I've only recently sort of, I guess, got my health back, and for so long it was unsure. But it was obvious at quite a few of the events I spoke at last year, because like my boyfriend had to walk me up to wherever I was, and I needed assistance to get up on the stage and to stand up and that sort of thing. So it was clear to like everybody there that like, something's going on. But I tried to keep it fairly quiet whilst it was happening, I guess. Whereas now I'm sort of like, I think I'm evolving it a lot more. And I know this year I'm doing a bunch of stuff on, like I've got my next book coming out, which I'll include a bit of it in. But yeah, like we're doing a whole thing on overcoming obstacles and turning them into opportunities and creating the life that you want. And for me, health is a huge part of that. So yeah, like it's definitely later in the year going to be incorporated in all my speaking and a lot more of my writing and that sort of thing. So yeah, for
awesome.
sure.
And I was just wondering, like, if you'd heard from any other women that had similar experience, because I mean, hearing that, like, I would think, oh, that would never happen to me, you know, being 30, but I wonder how many women really do go through something like that is just so unexpected at such a young age, that their health declining so quickly. So.
Well, yeah, like there's quite a few. Well, my own mum died of cancer at 37.
Wow.
And like other family members have had similar issues in their 30s. And like both my dad's parents died at 63,
wow.
63 or 64. Yeah. So like, which isn't like, when I was young, I was like, that's so old. Now that I'm 30, I'm like, it's not old. It's not old at all. Like, not like, you know, 90 or 100's old, but that's like anything under that is not. And yeah, it's been interesting because I've had a lot of women reach out, particularly because of the domestic violence and homelessness.
Sure.
But it's interesting how many women who have gone through that, who have then gone on to have significant health issues, because obviously you're under so much stress in that. And yeah, most of them are under 40. And it is things like, there's a lot of like breast cancer and various digestive cancers, like mental health disorders or whatever as well. And which a lot of that can be helped or like assisted a little bit with fitness and health and focusing on your health and that sort of thing as well. And it's been interesting because most of them are, I would say, between sort of like 25 and 35 that have reached out and gone, you know, like I've had these health issues, or, you know, like whatever it is. And it's just like, man, like it's so young.
Yeah.
Like it's so young for all of that to be happening. And it's like, you shouldn't be facing that sort of thing at this age. Like it's just not. And a lot of it, when you go back over it, you can see that they've either neglected their health or not done any fitness or whatever, or allowed themselves to get really, really stressed, like in really stressful situations. And obviously, like with the background that I have and many of these women have with domestic violence and that, you can't not be stressed.
Right.
But, you know, like as entrepreneurs and stuff, I think we do that too. Like we put ourselves under a lot of pressure, and the things your body does internally when you're stressed it's shocking. Like it's absolutely horrifying what like your digestive system, what systems inside your body shut down. Like my naturopath said to me, she goes, oh, when's the last time you were sick prior to, like, you know, last year? Like, when's the last time you had a cold or whatever? And I was like, oh, you know, not in years. Like, I'm really lucky. Like, I never get sick. Like, my body's really good. And she's like, no, that's really bad. And I'm like, really? Because, like, as entrepreneurs, and I think in society in general, we think not getting sick is a great sign. You know, it means we're really healthy. No, it means some of your systems have shut down. And if you don't get that sorted and don't focus on your fitness and your health, and that you are facing something like what I had last year, like, eventually that is what will happen. But I think, yeah, like as entrepreneurs, you should sort of just push through and like, you don't worry about it. And you don't know it. Like most people don't know that sort of stuff, that, you know, how your body works and that sort of thing, and how it's impacted by stress and not doing that. And fitness is a huge stress relief for like most people. Like everybody I talk to, like once they started, they're like, oh, it's amazing. I feel so much better. And, you know, like it can be hard getting up to like go do it, especially like when it's dark outside or whatever.
Right.
But long term, it's so worth it.
Yeah, that's. Well, I mean, it's interesting that you have heard those stories, and I'm sure you'll hear more as you talk about it more. But
absolutely,
yeah, just something we take for granted, and like the stress, and also the just that feeling that we always have to be busy. So I think
yes, that's a huge thing. I actually did was it last year? Like before my back went out, I was doing this contract with a charity here, and busy was banned. Like you were not allowed to say that you were busy. You were allowed to say you were productively engaged.
Okay.
Yes, productively engaged. Because like so many of us go, oh, I'm so busy, or we think we have to be busy. You can't just be, you know, like relaxing or whatever. Like we actually implemented my partner and I that at least one day a week we switch everything off and we just chill. So like, you know, like on a Sunday, you know, like there'll be nothing on and we'll go do stuff with the girls or whatever. But it's like that was really hard.
Yeah.
Like that was a huge adjustment to go, you know what? No, I'm going to take a day for myself and I'm going to do nothing. And then like, I remember the first few times he was like, oh, we didn't do anything today. And I'm like, well, no, we did exactly what we were supposed to do. Like, you know, and he's like, but you know, like prior to that, we'd been so busy constantly. I was like, no, you're not supposed to live your life like that. You're not supposed to be busy constantly despite what everybody else is doing. And I found too, like, I don't know about you, but I found people that, will make themselves sound busy or whatever, or talk about their day like, I have to go here and then I have to go there and then I have to pick up the dry cleaning and then do this, that, and the other. And it's just like, hang on, all of that's only going to take about an hour.
Right.
Like, not judging what you're doing with your time, like, obviously, but it's like the way they're talking about it makes you stress for them, like, or like they're clearly stressed out about having to do this much stuff. And I'm like, no, I think that some of it is even just how we structure our day or structure how we talk about what we're doing.
Sure.
Which is the reason they banned busy, because they're like, when you're thinking of busy, it's like, oh, I'm running here and there and buzzing around like a bee. Whereas it's like, if I'm productively engaged, I'm doing something. Like I've prioritized my time and I've like scheduled it and I'm doing something. And like, meditation and fitness is being productively engaged. Like you're taking care of yourself. I think it's, how we talk about it and how we do it has a huge impact as well. And yes, stressed and busy is not good. But
definitely. No. I mean, that's something I've had to learn. So that's why I was sharing that too, because, and I'm still working on it. I should do a day with no technology. That's something I've not done yet. It's amazing.
Well, we get to 10 o'clock and we switch our iPhones to do not disturb.
Nice.
And they don't get switched back on until, like 6 or 7 when we get back up. But I'm really bad at switching it back on. And so like I'll go for like, almost the whole day, and then I'll pull out my phone for something and I'll just be like, oh, whoops. Yeah. But you know what? Like I get so much done.
Yeah.
Like so much, like my writing or whatever it is. And obviously that's not on days where, I've got things scheduled in or whatever too much, but it's just like, you don't have to be on the go all the time. You don't have to be connected all the time. Like you can just, it's your time. It's up to you what you do with it. Like you don't have to be doing everything every day, and you don't have to appear busy just because everybody else is.
Right.
Like honestly, as an entrepreneur, your goal should be outsourcing everything so you've got more time to be doing what you want to do. Like, isn't that why we're doing it? Like, I mean, you do it because you love it. Obviously, you love whatever it is that you do, but don't you want to create it so that it's about like you doing what you want to do, not having to do everything and not being super busy?
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
I don't know. Well, that's why I'm doing it.
Good lessons to learn. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to ask you too. I've had all my interviewees offer up a little fitting and fitness dare. It's a tongue twister, but something, small, actionable that you could dare the viewers to try even after watching the interview to get the momentum going. What would you dare them to do to get started?
I would dare them to aim for 100 kettlebell swings.
Nice.
It doesn't take that long to do. And even if it's just like once a week, so it's like every Monday morning, get up 15 minutes earlier, do the 100 kettlebell swings. And it doesn't matter if it's done like, you don't have to do like 100 straight up, like in a row or whatever. It's like you can do 10 and then rest for a minute and then do another 10, rest for a minute type thing. Like build it up to that you're doing 100 kettlebell swings. But doing that one thing even once a week is going to make a huge difference.
Oh yeah, it's a full body move. So
exactly. You will feel it. You will probably only want to do it once a week for a long time, but it's worth it. Like it's the best one I've ever done for everything, like all over body.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So those 100 kettlebell swings are going to be the dare.
Yep.
I'll have to see if people get that going.
Yeah, and if you hate me for daring you to do that, you could tweet me about that or whatever. I'll give you support and encouragement.
Nice.
You can do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then Kylie, I mean, you've been through a lot. I'm sure you have a lot of motivation besides and inspiration to offer besides just the fitness part. Any like quote you live by, mantra you live by, a word of the year you picked for this year that could offer us some additional inspiration?
Well, I did both actually because of everything that I've been through. I tend to shut down a lot and like to protect myself, like it was self-protection and preservation. So the word of the year for me this year was actually communication. And so I committed to being like open and honest and like expressing how I felt, especially with like my partner, instead of just going, nope, it's fine, I'm fine. Because that's like the biggest signal that you're not fine. And so being really straight up with him. And like we also decided that with communication, if it wasn't a hell yes, it was a no. Like for whatever it was that we were asked to do, if it wasn't hell yeah, I really want to do that, then it was a no. And so like keeping that communication open. And then my mantra that I've sort of had, well, since everything really went to hell in 2012, like with the divorce and everything, is that I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become by Carl Jung. And I would repeat that to myself, like constantly, like I would be at breaking point. And like, cause it was in a matter of weeks where like he attempted to stab me and then we left the home and then I was robbed of everything, including my underwear. And then like I was raped and then we ended up homeless. And so that's like in a couple of weeks, couple of months sort of thing that happened. And so like constantly when that was happening, like, I was like, I am not what happened to me. I'm what I choose to become. It's up to me. Like I this situation doesn't define me. And so, yeah, I use that all the time now. Like whenever something bad sort of happens or things aren't working out, and even like last year with the paralysis and that, I'd repeat that to myself, and it's like, I genuinely believe that. Like, it doesn't matter what has happened to me. I can choose how the rest of my life turns out. And like, obviously, like, you know, more stuff got thrown at me because I had everything last year, and, you know, more stuff will be thrown at me throughout my life, but it's my choice. How I react to that and what happens from there, how that impacts my life is my choice. So, yeah.
I mean,
that was really long-winded.
After you said it the second time, just think, I mean, because you really are a great example of that, you know, I mean, if
thank you.
A lot of us thinking that, you know, we have it hard, or, you know, we've gone through some things, or some things from our past are holding us back, just thinking about, you know, if you could go through all those things from your past, especially like in the short amount of time, that really, you know,
well, it's interesting because when I was younger, like I had depression. I actually had borderline personality disorder is what I was diagnosed with when I was married, and like so many little things would upset me and I'd get frustrated by it and stuff. And now I look back at that time and it's just like, really, as a teenager, you had it pretty sweet. Like, I had it pretty sweet. Like I did have my mum pass away at that time, but it's like, you know, like I had, you know, an awesome supportive family. I had a house. I had like, you know, it was pretty good. And yeah, and I look at like what I've gone through in the last couple of years, and I actually came across that quote. It was within months of everything happening, sort of thing. And so it like came at the right time, because I even had it made into a cuff that I'd wear on my wrist. So it was like there constantly. But it's just like, yeah, like when I look back over at the rest of my life, I'm like, yeah, there is nothing that I can't overcome or deal with. And yeah, it's been amazing, like having that. But I think too, at the same time, like, everybody has their own issues that they face and that they deal with. And I think, yeah, like I've had a lot of people compare themselves to my life or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, but I was at a different stage in my life, and that's, you know, something that I was obviously able to handle, and it doesn't diminish whatever it is that somebody else was dealing with or whatever. Like whatever space they're facing is still huge for them and where they're at in their life. It's just, I think I was in a really good position mentally when I was faced with a lot of like challenges, I guess, in my life. And so I think I was lucky in that sense. But that quote, yeah, I don't think I could have got through as much without that, repeating that. And I had it written everywhere. Like I wrote it in permanent marker on my mirror and everything. Like it was everywhere. Yeah, it's even on my website. Like I have it like everywhere. So
it's good. Yeah. I mean, well, if it helps, I mean, it's definitely just good to think about. I mean, even for me to think, you know, now that I know it.
But that's the thing. Like I use it in most of my presentations, and I just see the audience go, "Whoa, yeah!" It's like, yeah, it's such a good quote. Like it's so good. It's so simple to remember. Like, you know, yeah, I think it's a good one.
Awesome. Well, I mean, been so inspiring, Kylie. I'm so glad that we got to connect all the way across the ocean.
Yes, across the globe. Thank you.
And I mean, you have a lot of exciting stuff going on. It seems like you're going to become more and more inspirational throughout this year.
I think so.
Would love to hear, like, you know, if you want to share anything exciting in particular that's coming up, or just in general. I mean, I'll share all the links, but just to let people know more about you as well. Love to give you that chance.
Well, well, I've got my next book is coming out this year. I'm still deciding on the title exactly, but it's going to be something like Obstacles into Opportunities, and it'll be about like, creating your dream life sort of thing and everything that you want, because it sounds a bit obnoxious, but I'm there now. Like I look at my life now and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's amazing and it's ideal. And so we're doing that, and we're going to I'm going to have like a course and everything with it too. So that'll be in the next sort of like couple of months. That'll all come out towards June. But like in the meantime, obviously I've got lots of resources and stuff on my website and that, and I'm really open, and I do respond to everybody. Like anybody can ask me anything too. Like I embarrass my family a lot because they're like, you know, do you really want everybody to know that about you? And I'm like, hey, given what I've been through, it's pretty obvious, like everything about my life, I'm cool with it. So yeah, like if anybody has any questions or anything like that. But yeah, the main two big things I think for me this year are the book and a new course and stuff that'll be I'm really excited about.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you have to let me know too, like as things come out, I can share it out as well, so people will know. But I mean, and I love what you said about, you're welcome, about your family. I mean, I think,
oh yeah,
I mean, you can think of it that way, but it's also, you know, by sharing our stories, I think that helps other people that are going through the same thing. Yeah. So it's great that you're
absolutely. I've had a lot of emails that way. Yeah. So that helped or whatever. But I get like, some of my family members are like, I got asked about you the other day because of what you wrote. And I'm like, sorry. Or they're at a presentation or something come on. And I'm like, sorry. And yeah, so it's like, it's interesting the feedback I get from them. But they're really happy that everything that I'm doing, obviously. And they're like, we're weirdly close is how we're described to my family. Because like we're each other's best friends and stuff. So it's like, you can make fun of each other like that. And yeah, it's all fine.
That's awesome. Well,
awesome.
Thanks so much, Kylie. I really had a lot of fun and very inspirational, at least to me. So hopefully to the other women, watching as well. And they can check you out more. Remember that you have that dare, the 100 kettlebell swings.
Yes, do it. You will hate me so much. I know it. But it's worth it. Trust me, it really is. Like, it's awesome.
I need to get out. I have like my go-to kettlebell. I've loaned it to a client right now, so I need to get it back so I can try out this again too.
Well, I only started doing it because my boyfriend has them. So he's got kettlebell. So he's got like a light one and he's got a heavy one. So he does the heavy one whilst I do the light one sort of thing. And it's and like the first few times we did it, I'm looking at it and he's like, I know you hate me, but it's so worth it. I'm like, not feeling that right now, honey. But it does. It's the best one I think that I've ever come across for anything.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, thanks, Kylie, and this will conclude. You're welcome. Today's episode of the Fitting in Fitness interview series. I hope you guys go check out the website, learn more about Kylie, and get inspired by the other interviewees as well. So after you're done with the 100 kettlebell swings, you have some other ideas of what you can do. And we'll see you soon. Bye, Kylie.
Bye. Thank you.